This video is brought to you by Skillshare. So, all you could afford with your New Year's money was a low-end PC, or you're stuck with a gaming PC from the Stone Age, and you want to play Far Cry Primal no matter what. Or you're just curious of what's going to happen when we drop everything to the lowest. Well, be careful what you wish for. Welcome to 2019, everybody. We're closer than ever to being 2020. I have been saving this video for a while, and after covering most of the modern Far Cry games on the channel, it is finally time to close the loop. This is the LowSpecGamer, where reducing settings of games have unintended consequences but fantastic gains. No matter what it takes, we're going to make this game run. Far Cry Primal was released between Far Cry 4 and 5. The minimum requirements are under a lot of the most intense stuff I have touched on this channel, and yet my beloved dual-core Intel Athlon 200GE APU, using its integrated Vega graphics, struggles to get a solid 30 FPS average on the included benchmark tool on 720p and the lowest settings. And you know what that means. The configuration file is located on the Documents folder as shown on the screen and is called gamerprofile.xml. There are a bunch of commands that you will find in the link in the description that you can paste right here after the tag for custom quality but before render quality closes. These commands do a lot of stuff, but let me show you some of the most interesting examples. Let's start with water. Even on the lowest settings, you can see some reflection and refraction effects on the surfaces. But the water section on the settings gets rid of most of that, for a much flatter pond. But you know what? There's still too much water, which you can get rid of with Disable Water 1. It's gone. Or is it? The water is still there, it's just not rendered. Fantastic. In the geometry section, we can control the number of decals. The surface impressions are usually meant for things like bullet holes or, in this case, arrow holes. You can see how each one leaves an impression in the wood on impact, but if you do max decal count 1, only the last arrow will leave an impression. Usually the game has pretty decent shadows, even on the lowest settings, and while you cannot entirely disable them, the shadow section, and especially ShadowMapSize 8, will reduce the resolution to the lowest possible. Some of the other variables limit its draw distance as well. It is a very subtle change from lowest shadows, but an existing one. But here's when things get a bit crazier. LodScale in the geometry section controls how far game models need to be before lower quality versions are loaded. Higher values are lower distance, and with a value of 10, you can see NPCs and enemy models on their low poly models close to you. And this affects other unexpected places like this bonfire here, where every log has a important reduction in polygon count. Look at this poor low poly good boy. Look at his triangular low poly face. Don't you just want to grab him and oh no! And that, combined with real tree LodScale, can make it so many trees and vegetations are replaced by basically 2D sprites, which kinda looks unexpectedly interesting. The other interesting value is kill LodScale, which basically controls at which distance objects stop being rendered, so basically draw distance. Again, this variable is lower the higher you go, and with a value of 10, a lot of the stuff just disappears in front of you. Now, for the actual change in performance, as I previously commented, the benchmark for this game on the regular lowest settings shows about 27 FPS on average, and after I have applied all the elements in the description, it climbs to 36 FPS average. That is way better than I expected. On actual gameplay, the extreme draw distance can be a bit problematic. Objects and animals I can deal with, but enemies often can see you way before you see them, which makes combat much harder. So maybe you should... Hold on. Is that guy naked? Oh wait, I think that the clothing has a different render distance than the models. So if you're far enough, the clothes are not rendered and the cavemen are out there with their dick out in their full glory? Did anyone even know the cavemen had dongs in their models? This is an odd and unexpected discovery. Wow, The ability to create clothing or stun tools to smash things with were common among successful early humans, as having the correct skills was an absolute necessity element of survival. We now have access to modern clothing and tools, but even though what knowledge you need has changed, what has not changed is the fact that having key skills is very important for day-to-day survival. If you're a little bit nervous about your odds of survival, may I recommend Skillshare? Look, they have courses and stuff like the Principles of Personal Finances, that is as modern survival as it gets, and they have many free tutorials if you're not convinced, but if you want to access the full modern survival toolset, the link on description keeps you the first 2 months of premium for free. Thank you to them for their very long and amazing support of this channel, thank you viewer for supporting me on a new year, and this time instead of hiding a joke, Discord user Philip wanted me to ask a question. What is the most demanding game you have played on a low-end PC for a long time? What frame rate and resolution did you play the game on? If you comment with your answer, I will know that you have watched all the way